Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently than my normal deck techs. I'm going to build the Ira deck on video as we go through this. I'm going to show you each card choice, why I'm choosing each card choice for like the day one deck tech of this video, of this hero, and then also kind of talk about my macro game plan and strategies and hopefully give you a great starting point. So if you just want the deck list and you don't really care to go through all the options and why, definitely you can check out the link down below. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to update my public list to this, what we decided today, whatever it ends up being. But I think this is really cool for you to understand, like, okay, from a macro perspective, where does he start? All right. So, and then if you have a certain different way you want to play, then you can maybe take that macro level, kind of start point and then kind of tool it to how you want to use it, right? So hopefully this helps. I'm going to go through each card. It's going to be really in-depth, probably a really long video. I'll try to timestamp it if I can. I think that actually might be pretty useful. So that way you can, get the most out of your viewing experience. But if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully you enjoy your stay. If you're a long-standing supporter, thank you so much as always. Feel free to check out the Discord down below as well as the creator worksheet. I'm going to pull up some notes right here just so I have them. And we're going to get right into it. So the first thing I've done, two disclaimers. One, I am wanting to make a more ninja-focused Ira deck. I'm going to have Ancestral Empowerment in it alongside Okaru. I want to be able to utilize, ninja cards. I want Ira to feel like a ninja combo deck. Are we going to still have some good generic finishers like Censor and Command and Conquer? Sure. But overall, I'm not going for like generic mid-range on hit so much as I am a little bit more aggressively, and because we can be now with all these 3-block go-agains and Breeze Order Boots into some of the finishers. So you're going to notice that my deck specifically is a little bit more ninja slanted probably than your average deck. Could be wrong, might end up being more ninja, but it seems like people still want to hold on to some of the generic stuff, which is completely fine. The second thing, and also the first card we're going to get into, is I am mainboarding Iris of the Blossom. Right now, Mask Momentum is going to stay in the maybe board. I'm going to test Iris of the Blossom for a little bit before I make my decision on which one I want to be on. There's a couple reasons for that, and this is getting into the first thing. The first thing is hand fixing. We already talked about that, right? We're hand fixing, as I'm writing notes here. Hand fixing is really big. Now, 4 blues in this deck isn't as big of a deal as 4 blues was in previous Ira decks. You actually can do some stuff with the new blues, which is really nice. But being able to hand fix and go get a very threatening card like Whirling Mist Blossom, especially when you're going to be running a lot of attack reactions like Ancestral Empowerment and Legacy of Okaru, it creates some really cool just ways to keep tempo, and I really enjoy that. And being able to do it multiple times a game, you basically can fix a crappy hand 3 times a game on, at most, which is really, really good. The second reason is Prismatic Leyline. I want to be able to get the full value. I'm running Prismatic Leyline because I think it's better. It's better than Dual Threat in this style of a list. It's basically our version of Dual Threat now in this style of a list. And because of that, I need to be able to go get Whirling Mist Blossom when I absolutely need it for a big Leyline turn if I don't have a yellow in hand. Because the way Leyline works, for anyone that's not aware, I'll just open this up really fast. We'll go to it for 2 seconds. This is more of a discussion video anyway, so I'm okay doing this. The next red card you attack with this turn gets +1. The next yellow gets +2, and your next blue gets +3. So if you just have a red and a blue in a hand, it's still going to get +4 value, which honestly is more than Dual Threat's going to get you most of the time in pretty much every time, unless you do the cute edge arms play, then Dual Threat's going to get. But I want to get that full +6, and on top of the fact, I want to be able to buff my Whirling Mist Blossoms. Right? I want Whirling Mist Blossom to potentially come in for 5, 6+ on Chainlink 2, and we'll also talk about that play here in a little bit, because a lot of people are like, there's going to block edge, and I'll kind of talk about what Prismatic Leyline can do to punish an opponent that's just trying to get your Whirling Mist Blossom not to matter. So all I have to say, really, really cool card, and I think it actually might. I'm not saying it's better than Mask Momentum. I don't think they personally directly compare. I think they both do different things for the deck, and it really depends on what you're trying to play around and what you're trying to do. So hopefully that made sense. I don't want to go too long on that, but that's kind of where that is. The rest of the suite's pretty simple. Okana Scar Wraps has been really great so far. I've actually activated this and brought the edge back in 15 games-ish, probably. I don't know. I'd say 10 times. There have been some games where this is literally a block 2 because you don't want to banish Edge because they have a lot of D-Reacts. I played into a Riptide and a Victor where I really had to be careful on when I activated this card. But it's still very, very good. Just the threat of having it in certain matchups is so good. Into the mirror, it was really good. Into the I played into a Katu. It was very good. I just basically got free value from it a couple times. Very good card. And then the de facto chess piece is going to be Tunic. If you want to run the new card from High Seas, I forgot, the one that Acilios are running. I'm sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head. But the one that's instant speed, gain a resource just to kind of use it when you need it. That could be also very useful. So kind of go from there. And then the leg piece is the biggest kind of decision point for you. I run Breeze Hunter Boots because it's one block, and really, honestly, most of my deck doesn't have very many cards that don't have inherent go again that also are not finishers. So being able to just use this when you can, I have already used it in 15 games. I've already used it like 3-4 times on like an Enact Vengeance turn. I've actually really used it twice on a Legacy of Okaru because I ordered my triggers where I drew from Legacy of Okaru off the on hit first, saw what it was, and then activated Breeze and then on the on hit to then play that card. So that's happened a couple times. There's just not a lot of cards in my deck that need like that unconditional Snapdragon Scalar's ability. Now, if you're running a lot of snatches, if you're running maybe just other cards that don't have inherent go again but have inherent on hit effects that you need to give unconditional go again, maybe they're not even ninja cards, then Snapdragon Scalars might be better for you. But right now, Breeze Hunter Boots is definitely probably the move. And then I'm running AB3 in the side because I have to respect Kano in my local area. I don't have a choice. If you do not want to respect Kano and you just want to run AB1, I would run Tide Flippers. The other two are just for Kano. That's kind of where I have been since then. But that's the equipment. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so step 1. We talked about this in the How to Ira video series. You can go back to my playlist and go to How to Ira, and I show you how I build a deck. We talk about extenders, we talk about finishers, we talk about blue base, and we talk about power cards, right? Now, for us, we're going to do power cards first. Now, we're not running dual threat in this list, right? So our power cards, like, what do we want to really potentially blow the game wide open if they resolve properly and do the thing, right? The 6 power cards in this deck are Whirling Mist Blossom for me and Prismatic Leyline. Both these cards are extremely powerful. Both do some really powerful things. Prismatic Leyline giving you that 6 value. Being able to, if they don't respect the edge first. So what this normally is doing right now that I'm seeing early on is I will play this card and people know that I either have this card in my hand or I want to go get it with my headpiece. So what they're doing right now, for whatever reason, because they think it's the smartest thing, but it's not, is they're blocking because I'll play Prismatic Leyline first, because ideally what you want to do is you want to play Leyline into Edge of Autumn, it hits, or you already have Whirling Mist Blossom, it needs to hit in order to Whirling Mist Blossom to be online, and then Whirling Mist Blossom gets +2 from Prismatic and +1 from Ira's ability, so it's coming in for 5 on Chainlink 2 on hit, draw 2 cards. So it's a 1 for 5 go again on hit, draw 2. Insanely powerful. And if they want to truly respect you and you want to extend a little bit, even though it's not a vengeance card, you also can use the arm piece to give it 1 more. So it's basically threatening 6 damage on hit, draw 2, which is insanely powerful, right? And that's also not counting the +1 you're going to get for a red or the +3 you're going to get for a blue, right? So all I have to say, that's what you're wanting to do. So a lot of times right now they're blocking Edge of Autumn to try to prevent that. And what I just do is I play a Bittering Thorns for 6 because it's +1 from Ira, +1 from itself, red Bittering Thorns. Or I'm playing a Flex Claws for 6. And it's like, okay, I just spent a whole card to block Edge. Now I'm going to spend 2 cards to block a red. Sure, you could, I guess, but like it's going to put you in a really weird spot. And at that point, if they block again, well, then I just play something else in Arsenal, Whirling Mist Blossom, or play a blue to finish and get +3 from it. It comes in for 5. They're probably going to take that because I'm going to have go again. And now I just took 3 cards out of your hand, dealt 5 damage, and still Arsenal my Whirling Mist Blossom. So If they don't block the edge, though, then they're put into this weird spot with Whirling Mist Blossom coming in for 5. So it's kind of like it's truly like a lose-lose situation, in my opinion. There are certain heroes that can do some cool stuff with dynamos and prevention. You could like discard Shelter if you wanted to, although I don't think that's smart personally against a list that hits a lot of breakpoints where you want defense reactions in your hand. But yeah, Prismatic Leyline's one of our power cards. We're looking for this. Being able to make Whirling Mist Blossom come in for 5, being able to make Bittering Thorns come in for 6, being able to even make our new blue card with the Vengeance word. Oh my gosh, can't remember it. Brand new cards. Give me a little bit of break here. Vengeance Never Rests comes in for 6 go again after Edge of Autumn, which is really, really nice. You could even do stuff like that where if they block Edge, you play this for 6 go again. On hit Banish, you can play it again. And then if they let that hit, then you just play Whirling Mist Blossom. It still gets a +2, and it's coming in for a breakpoint at 4, whatever the case may be, right? So you have a lot of modality with Prismatic depending on how they block you. If you don't have a Whirling in your hand too, they also, every hit is an on hit technically when you're running Iris, because if I just played Prismatic and now I'm playing Edge, they have to think, okay, if he doesn't have Whirling Mist Blossom in his hand, his first hit, he's going to go get it. Right, so, or he could go get it. So it's a thing to think about. So that's our power cards, right? That's the first thing. Pretty simple there. Now, normally, I would just do extenders and finishers, but we're just going to go ahead and rip off the Band-Aid. We're going to add everything in with a Vengeance in it, right? We have 12 cards with Vengeance in the name. All of them are very good. There's literally not one that's like, They're all very, very good. We have Enact Vengeance, which threatens the arsenal. This comes in for 7 on a 2-card hand, threatening to blow up the arsenal, which is very good. It can come in as a 6-power finisher. You'll have some cool plays where I've done plays with the blue, this card, and this card, where like I'll swing with Edge of Autumn, pitching my blue, floating 2. They let it hit because they don't want to block it. Then I play Seek Vengeance for 0 for 5 go again. They normally, because I'm not on Mask of Momentum right now, they're not fully blocking it out every time. And then I will activate my arms, banish the Edge of Autumn, Seek of Vengeance hits, go get Edge of Autumn right back. Then I will play Edge of Autumn again because it's now a new object, floating 1, activate Tunic, play Enact Vengeance. Pretty good, right? You just did a 4-card 13 off of Tunic, and you're threatening to blow up their arsenal on the end of it, right? It's not insanely like world ending, but some cool play lines that you can do, very simple ones, right? Seek Vengeance also comes in at blue, which is 0 for 3 go again on Chainlink 2. Then you have this stupid card. This card's actually insane, especially with Prismatic Leyline. Like, this card is a 1 for 4 go again at blue in Ira. On hit becomes a 2 for 7. 2 resource 7. At blue. The value that this is the best Vengeance card they've printed by far. Absolutely unbelievable, right? So that's all our Vengeance cards. They all have really good applicability. Sometimes you'll run into play lines where like you have a Vengeance Never Rest and you have a Seek Vengeance. You kind of have to play with how your opponent plays into you, how much tempo you have. Most of the time, I'll always prioritize playing Vengeance Never Rest after Edge over Seek Vengeance, because Seek Vengeance, especially at red, you can just end on a 0 for 4, right? Think about how many times in Katu we've ended on a Flusterfist, right? It's basically what it is, which is completely fine. So really, really good there. So now we talk about kind of going back to old school Ira principles. The first thing I'm going to do is set up my blue base, because I think the blue base is the most important thing here. And what I want to do is I want to set up my blue base around my power cards. I want my blue base to make the most Prismatic Leyline and make the most of Whirling Mist Blossom. So the first thing is, how many blues do we want to run? I still think Ira's going to want to run, because her blues are so much more proactive, you can run more blue, but you're also wanting to play some of her blues, a lot of them. You're wanting to play Legacy of Okaru, you're wanting to play Vengeance Never Rest, you're wanting to play Seek Vengeance. Because of that, you need a little bit more blues, I think. Not more, but more than you probably would. Because like this style list, from a straight resource perspective, you probably could run like 18 blues. You're going to want like 21, because of just wanting to play blues. It's very similar to like Katu, where it's like I always tell people, don't count Retrace the Past. Also, we're going to do a Katu deck tech for this, don't worry. Katu switching Edge of Autumn. So like, what can empower Whirling Mist Blossom the most, and Prismatic Leyline the most, right? Like, we have a couple options here. So the first one and the easiest one, obviously, we put Legacy of Okaru in there. The card's ridiculous. Target ninja attack, it's +1 when it hits. If Edge Bottom was the last attack this combat chain, draw a card. Works as a pseudo ancestral empowerment. Not quite as, it's conditional, but it's still insanely good for 0 cost blue block 3. Seek Vengeance, again, if we're trying to make the most Prismatic Leyline, it hits that wicket. If we're trying to make the most of Whirling Mist Blossom, it doesn't really do anything other than give us another chain extender, which can help us with Whirling Mist Blossom, putting it online. So that's what you got to think about. Legacy of Okaru, how does that affect both of our power cards? Again, this is what you need to ask yourself every time. At least this is how I'm presenting it. Every blue needs to be able to go into this power line. Like, how is it helping you? We all know her blues block 3 and have some utility. You also can run some generic stuff like Ripple Away and Truce and Sirens and stuff like that. But for us, we're going to focus on how do they empower this. The next one that I didn't have originally, and I'm probably going to change because I want to test it, is Blue Bittering Thorns. Blue Bittering Thorns does a lot into both of our power cards, right? Being able to potentially play this on chain. If they block your edge, you play Bittering Thorns for 3 on Chain Link 2. If they don't want to respect it again, then you can play Whirling Mist Blossom for 3, right? It can help buff certain things. And getting Whirling Mist Blossom to 3 specifically in this deck is actually very impactful because you can use the arms, you can use Ancestral Empowerment, you can use Legacy of Okaru to buff it, right? Depending on how your playline is. Because Legacy of Okaru will still buff Whirling Mist Blossom. It just won't get the on-hit draw card if Edge wasn't the last card. So I think Blue Bittering Thorns probably makes sense. We're going to put these in the maybe just because it's going to be really easy to bring them up here in a second. And then we have think of other blues that we want to do. And let me pull up my other list here while I'm doing this just to make sure that I do this properly and I'm remembering my cards off the top of my head to save you time. Another one that isn't world ending. They're not world ending, but they're good, solid, just pieces that fuel both of the things is Soul Bead Strike and Torn Tempo. They're both 3 power blue block. They're both blue block 3s. Soul Bead Strike off of Prismatic will come in for 5 as a good ender, which is really nice. Torn Tempo would come in for 6. They also can fuel into Whirling Mist Blossom depending on how confident you are you can get them to hit. You could swap these out with other cards. This is kind of where my head initially is at anyway. So that's kind of where I'm at. So as you can see, we had 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 attacks that kind of play into this whole getting the +3. Honestly, Soul Bead Strike might go out for Rowdy Locals. That's what the difference was. No, it was I kept Soul Bead Strike and I took out Torrent Tempo. That's what it was. We're gonna do that. So same reason. It's still gonna get +3 from Prismatic, but with a better on hit. Rowdy Locals for 5 is good. We've done that before in Dual Threat, so we know it's good. And then finally, the other one, I was wanting one more set of reactions for Whirling Mist Blossom, so we do have a good old nip at the heels, being able to buff your edge in a pinch, being able to buff cards like Seek Vengeance, Soul Bead Strike, it buffs Vengeance Never Rests, so buffs Bittering Thorns, and Whirling Mist Blossom. So very, very good. So that's kind of our blue base here. We got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21 blues. You can mess with the ratios. If you want a little bit more, a little bit less, definitely take a look, see what is best for you. But that's where we are at for that, right? So then we talk about extenders. We already have 3, 6, 9 technically at blue, 12, 15. 15 extenders in the deck. Now, as far as unconditional extenders, we have 6 in Bittering Thorns and Whirling Mist Blossom. So we want to probably get, because these extenders have so much modality with their block values, we don't need a ton, but my list is going to be a little bit more aggressive leaning. So I'm going to put Bittering Thorns in the list, and I had someone in the Purple Discord suggest, like, okay, if you're running Prismatic, why not just run Yellow Bittering Thorns? Like, at least you can turn it on more. And I was like, you know what? That makes complete sense to me. I'm going to do that. So we're definitely going to run Yellow. I'm going to try out Yellow Bittering Thorns. If it doesn't end up working out, I just took that out of the list by accident. Then we'll go from there. But after that, that's pretty good on our extenders. I do have Flex Calls in the original list, and I do like Flex Calls. I love putting Flex Calls on turn 1 into Edge of or Chainlink 1 into Edge of Autumn for Chainlink 2, and then throwing a freaking 0 power Tiger out there and telling them, like, if you don't respect this and I Legacy of Okaru this, I'm going to draw 2 cards. I think it's really funny. I wasn't playing it solely for competitive reasons. I was playing it because it puts your opponent in really weird spots a couple times. But it's not like a slam dunk in this list like it was before. So that's kind of where we're at. So now then we talk about finishers. We're at 39 cards. Oh, also, this doesn't really go into any category. But we are putting Ancestral Empowerment into the list, being able to buff literally every card in this list so far, except for Rowdy Locals. And get more card draw is very, very important. And then we talk about finishers. We already have Enact Vengeance. Command and Conquer is definitely going in the list for sure. I will make a budget version of this list at some point too for y'all. I know some people always ask about that, rightfully so. Another finisher that we're going to have in the list completely is Sirens of Safe Harbor. This card is so good just in general. It is a 2-card 9 in this list with Edge of Autumn because it comes in for 7, heals you for a life on Chainlink 2. That's 8 value, and then Edge of Autumn is 9. In Iris of the Blossom specifically, I've had a couple instances where I discarded this card to go get Whirling Mist Blossom and gained a life. Like, not world ending, but at least you get the value from it, right? At least one value at the very least. So I do have that as a finisher. Command and Conquer as a finisher. And then my last finisher is going to be Censor. I think it's just I'm trying to think of finishers that, matter the most, so to speak, in terms of kind of how things go. Let me pull this over here really fast. Hopefully it's the same one. Okay, cool. Other finishers that you could put in, Sound the Alarm. If you have a lot of Assassin, I think is still very, very good. That could go in your sideboard. These are all sideboard options, right? Torn a Tempo is very good as just, it does everything. It does everything you want to do. Very, very solid card. And then we also have E-Strike. I would only put E-Strike in the list if you were focused a little bit more on generics and not as much on like Empowerment and Legacy of Okaru and trying to make the most out of that. It really depends on where you want to go, right? We then talk about defense reactions. I do not own Shelters until they reprint that card. I'm not buying it. I do put Sync in the main board. Sync's always just a good D-react. You always want it in the board. No matter what the matchup is, unless it's Kano, and then you just sub it out. I have Fate Foreseen inside and Flick Flack inside. It all depends on, how you want to do it. If you want to only run 6 defense reactions, you can. I like to be a little bit more defensive in this list because I have Iris and I'm able to get rid of one of those defense reactions when I need to. I think it's very good. So we're at 68 cards. I'm still going to put Humble on the list. Again, I'm thinking of sideboard options that make the most sense for me. I think Humble's extremely good in this meta. There's a lot of heroes that it turns off. We have Erase Face, very good into anything Draconic. It's good into Jarl. It's good into anything that cares about its talent name in any sense of the word, right? And then I put in Blanche. I got to put in my Prism Respect. I don't have a choice. That's kind of where I'm at. And then finally, if you want to put a little bit more of an offensive piece in there, I still think Take the Tempo is a fantastic one. Give and Take also might just be a solid inclusion because you can put Vengeance cards back into your deck. If you watch the Armory deck video, I think that might actually be a pretty good thing to notice. So I'll put Give and Take in there. Again, I'm kind of giving you options. You play with how you want to play. Take the Tempo is another good option as well. And I'll update the public list when I do this. And then finally, you could have cards like Amnesia. Amnesia hits Vincent. It hits Prism. It's a good offensive card in the Prism when you don't have to use the popper. You could figure that would be really good. Gravekeeping you could put in. Weakest Link you could put in. Another good extender that has some synergy in this deck is Spinning Wheel Kick. That would be a good one. That All You Got might actually also be a good one right now in today's meta with Syndra and with other key heroes, and kind of go from there. But that's where we're at. So this is the list I'm going to talk about, or I'm going to go with, and I'll just rename it in here so I know where to look forward to my stuff. But as you can see, as a quick recap, we're running 3, 6, 9, 12. 15 unconditional extenders, which is a little heavy, but we're also a little bit more aggressively slanted than we were before. We're running 3, 6, 9, 12 finishers, and the finishers can change depending on, what you want to be good into. Our blue base is supporting that game plan of Prismatic Leyline and Whirling Mist Blossom. Every single card supports it in some way, shape, or form, which is really, really solid. And then finally, we're running some of our defense reactions, have a little bit more defense in the board, go on from there. But hopefully this made sense. I tried to make this as in-depth as I could. 25 minutes actually is less than I thought it was going to be. I'm pretty surprised. But this is where I want to go with the list. It's a little bit more ninja theme. If you want a little bit more toolbox disruption, you definitely can go that way. If you want to run Mask of Momentum, definitely can go that way. I'm not going to fault anybody who plays that way. I just want to try Iris. I think it has some really cool things that make it useful. And it actually shores up a lot of Ira's, like, not a lot, but Ira's main weakness, which is drawing dead hands when you take tempo. So, all to say, hopefully you enjoy this. If we look at this, though, I want to look at something really quick. So my old Boomer Ira list, right? Boomer, my most recent list. Let's just look at the, I'm gonna pull it over here. Let's look at the, I just want to show this. Where is it? I forgot what it's in. Stats. I'm stupid. The average block power of this list is the average power is 2.8. The average defense is a 2.7. If we look at the difference, I haven't even looked at this yet. The average defense is a 2.79, where the average power is a 2.63. So you are sacrificing about 0.2 in power, which is pretty significant. But you're gaining a little bit of defense, which find it really funny in something that I consider a more aggressively leaning list has a little bit better defense. And that's because all the Vengeance cards are block 3. So now you basically have 9 cards with almost unconditional go again in your deck that also block 3. So it's kind of a difference there. The power is lower, but your draw is better. You're threatening Whirling Mist Blossom. You're threatening more on hits with this deck, so you can sacrifice the natural height of power for going a little bit wider, being a little bit more combat tricky, so on and so forth. Our pitch is at a 1.89. Our pitch was a little bit higher in this deck, and our average cost is actually also a little bit higher, which is interesting. So our pitch is lower. Our cost is higher. We'll have to see how that works out. This is good stuff to look at, honestly, when you're looking at these decks and kind of figure it out. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, some of my kind of key, last thing I'll say, but some of my maybes in the deck, even with making it just now, is Bittering Thorns yellow. I want to see how much that actually matters with Prismatic Leyline. Give and take. That was honestly an on-the-fly choice I just made. After seeing it in the Armory deck, being able to bring Vengeance cards back into your deck if you need to, especially like an Act Vengeance, or you just bring a CNC back, honestly, is really, really good. That's kind of a big maybe for me. And then sideboard cards always are very flexible, depending on what you need in your deck and when you need them. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. If not me, it's completely fine. Go to another creator, leave a like, comment, subscribe on their stuff. Let's get more people seeing this game. I'll be making this video. I'm going to make a Katu one just like this. And then I'm going to do some gameplay videos for once, because I know people have really been wanting those. But hopefully, for all my American friends, you have a good July 4th. Everyone stay safe, be kind to each other, and I'll see you all next time on GC Talk. Thank you all so much.